Sagittarius, welcome to your post-eclipse mid-June tarot reading for 2020. It's Rena here, and so I decided to kind of throw in that angle because as I record this, we just had a lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Sagittarius, and this would have been yesterday. I'm recording this on June 6th, at least for you. Probably won't get this all up for a couple of days, all the different signs, but I chose Sagittarius first since the eclipse was in Sagittarius. Now, for those of us who are later degree Sages after 15 degrees, so mid sign and beyond, this actually fell in the 12th house. And for me, because I'm a sun in Sag, and maybe a lot of you are watching for your sun signs, this would be in the 12th house, and the solar 12th house, and it's like, it really did feel very intense, almost like more intense than the one in Scorpio. And all these emotions kind of bubble to the surface, and all kinds of things that have been occurring in the collective, you know, that has to be factored into it too. But I really believe that there is stuff to examine that is very deeply buried. For the rest of you, the first 15 degrees, so probably like from, I really should not even attempt to try to say like what that would be, because I'll trip myself up. Probably until about December 10th, but don't quote me on that. And that falling in your, maybe more like the 8th, that falling in your first house could have been on more of the outer level, where you are like letting go of something, maybe even in terms of like going on a diet or something with your body. You want to like lose pounds, release weight. What else? You know, just the running the gamut. Your life in general, something ending. Sometimes not something that you're doing consciously. It actually, with the eclipses, the universe is the big instigator of the change, and you can either go along with it or you can resist it. And when you go along with it, it makes it easier for you to manifest certain things. So with the lunar eclipse, it can be change in the form of endings, and a lot of people, that tends to be what freaks them out. New beginnings, we tend to have a lot of positive energy around, but endings, we're like, whoa, you know, what's going on here? And we really have to be willing to accept that life is impermanent, that change is the only constant, and when you do that, it's like, wow. So some of these changes you may find out about in the coming months. I'm picking an additional card because of the nature. Well, I'm going to leave it there. I'm not going to worry about what it represents, because it's there for a reason. So the heart of the matter is the Ace of Cups, which can be new love coming in. This can also be it can be pregnancy. It can be perhaps a new business that has a healing theme or a spiritual theme attached to it, or opportunities within a current system. Oh boy, if you knew what I'm dealing with here. Excuse me. So I'm just going to keep going because there's stuff. So in the past position, we have the Four of Wands, which is a card of marriage, home, and it's that idyllic, that sense of happiness that is attached to home life, when you feel that it's something good, or attached to the domestic area of life, when there's something happy there. You could live in a mansion, and if you are surrounded by negativity, it's going to be hell for you. So, this can go along with, if you, let's say that you have recently closed on a new house and found out that you're pregnant. These kinds of things can be very exciting. Sagittarius is a masculine sign, so even the women of the sign tend to be not the traditional homemakers or people that like to hang around the house. I'm a sun in Sagittarius, but I have a lot of earth, and so I'm more of a homebody, more introverted. But the template, if you will, for Sagittarius is to be kind of a person of the world, not a person in that very personal environment. But it could be like, the wands represent freedom, and this, if you're with the right person, this is a card of marriage, but it's not a marriage of convenience, let's put it that way. It's a marriage of maybe shared passions, if it is a marriage card for you, and even having a child. It can be fraught with a lot of anxiety, because a Sagittarian, male or female, is afraid of losing their freedom. As much as they may love children, they may be like, okay, but is this going to mean that I can never do anything spontaneously? I always have to plan ahead, things like that. And I actually think that's a good thing, that people, look at, the whole picture and not just what they want to see. But the higher message here is the Devil card, which is about the pleasures I should say pleasure isn't evil, but the temptations of the flesh that can threaten this very setup here. So why would that even come into play? That's why I was a little bit confused when I drew that Devil card, because those other two cards are so nice. So why am I drawing that card? Because there may be something where, in some cases, depending on your background, you have a tendency to sabotage yourself in love. That you, like somebody who has an affair when they have a beautiful relationship, and they ruin beautiful relationships where they are being loved because they don't feel deserving of love. And that is a very sad thing whenever that occurs. Also, with the Devil card, it can be excessive materialism. So let's say you're talking about, with the Ace of Cups and the Four of Wands, I'd love to just talk about real estate, but that Ace of Cups is throwing me off. So I'm looking at it much more emotionally, but even with physical properties in real estate, the Devil card can be putting greed ahead of something else. So with, like, if you, let's say you're pregnant and you're looking to expand, have a bigger house, but you want something, you want something excessive because of that materialism, but you're not thinking about how will that affect my relationship. Some people have found that when they downsized and when they are closer to each other, or even during this shutdown when they were forced, I'm putting that in air quotes, to be together as a family, that was really this sense of feeling more connected. And I really have been happy for those people. That's been a bright spot because I think that the whole family benefits that way. So yeah, I'm a little bit, I have to admit, there are a few times when it's hard to draw together these cards to form a coherent, cohesive reading, and this is one of those times. I'm really struggling with this one. If any of you have any alternative explanations, interpretations, I'm totally open to it. So the best I can say is ruining a good thing because of maybe lust. Maybe there's somebody that you, well, here's an example. The Ace of Cups can be this idea of love in its early stages, but this is almost like a scary feeling. I think I touched upon that for you, and so you're much more likely to kind of reject it as being boring, as being, you know, not really, because it's exciting. The devil is exciting. The devil is dangerous, and so the devil is exciting. And sometimes this is, I feel, why some people get involved in third-party situations, because they feel that unless there's some risk or danger, that a relationship is complacent. And if you look at their background, a lot of times they probably come from chaotic backgrounds where there was a lot of, there was one crisis after the other. And so they have a tendency just to recreate the drama in their life. And so I would ask you, if that resonates with you, to look at that and see how you might be throwing away some, you know, real love in your life. What crosses you is the Seven of Swords. That kind of goes along with this. This is a card of kind of being on the down low, so to speak. But, you know, deception. And you know, the Devil card is connected to Capricorn. So sometimes when I see the Devil card, I think of a narcissistic personality type. And this may be somebody that you're dealing with, and it's affecting your relationship. Maybe it's a parent. Somebody is trying to interfere to poison the well, or this mother-in-law from hell. I pick on mother-in-laws. Maybe I should mention father-in-laws. But I think it tends to be the mother of the spouse, because the mothers tend to be more possessive. So understanding that if you want to protect your marriage, that you have to, and if you, now that you have a child, if that's being ratcheted up, you know, the narcissistic parent, you know, they can get a whole new lease on life when they become grandparents. So you might have to be very careful and vigilant about that, about who you allow in your life, even if they are related to you through your partner. Now, with in that scenario, the Seven of Swords can be that your partner may be kind of double dealing you, and I can just see all the thumbs down I'm going to get in advance. And I'm not saying that that's going to happen. This is a tarot reading on YouTube. Don't take things so seriously. But just personally, I know that this can happen with weak-minded individuals who want to please both parties. And also, maybe they're covert narcs. They want to play both sides, because then they get more attention. But there's a victimization happening as well. But if you are the one that has a tendency to kind of go outside of a relationship once it gets serious, look at that. Look at what it is that you want. Because we do have, I mean, the reading ends with two cards that we associate with pretty tough emotions. So what's coming in is the Sun card, which is awesome. This is about love, children, healing, prosperity, all the good things in life. And so we have these beautiful cards. So this is like such a mixed bag. And a lot of Sagittarians can relate. We kind of have been dealing with this for maybe the last couple of years, where it's like 6 of one, half dozen of the other. We get one aspect that's good, and then it's like, we're like, can't we just get like 90% good? Why doesn't it have to be a mixed bag like this? And I feel like part of this is the cleansing process, the evolutionary process, where sometimes, you know, but what they're saying like right now, which I really think is more and more, I think this is true. Think about the times we're living in general as a collective, and how intense, how insane it is. And I'm 54 years old, so I've been around the block for quite a while. I'm not, you know, I'm not in my 20s. This is not a new thing to me. I have something to compare it to. And as crazy as life can be in general, nothing has been as crazy as the last, I would say, especially 5 years, but even going back 20 years to 2000. I'm talking about in the United States specifically, where our election was suspended for several months. And I really felt like that was ushering in a whole new era, and it turned out to be absolutely true, but not in a good way. But what they have said, what spiritual teachers have said, is as intense on the challenging side as it has been, it has also been creating heightened, higher vibrations, a more, more joy and that kind of thing, right at the same time. And I have seen that. I've seen that with all of the things and all the upheaval we've had in the last week in America. Just some wonderful stories in the midst of pain and suffering. Okay, so this is what I would say to Sagittarius, is that I also think that this is true, and that we have the opportunity to gravitate towards what we want. We don't want to focus on the devil and I was going to say the Seven of Swords. Seven of Swords doesn't have to be just completely bad. Actually, one thing to note about the Seven of Swords as a challenge card is that perhaps you're not spending enough alone time. Maybe you're too involved with a relationship to, not getting enough time alone to think of what you want on your own. And we have here, I picked two cards as the outcome. The first one being the Eight of Swords, which is about negative self-talk, feeling oppressed in your situation. So this, and then the other card I got, I'm going to pick an additional card, I think, was the Five of Cups, mourning the loss of something. Now, with the Eight of Swords, this is a spiritual process that has to be engaged in, where you're able to identify self-defeating thoughts and nip them in the bud, maybe with affirmations, maybe with other types of spiritual practices that can be a balance for that. But I think that it's kind of training your brain to, and I think that's what affirmations are all about, is that you're kind of countering messages in a very conscious way, so that those are really running the old tapes. But you can also do self-inquiry, where you're deep diving into your things that you're telling yourself and kind of exposing the falsehood of it. And to me, that's also very important. So I'm going to cut the cards, and I'm going to pick an additional card for clarification. Queen of Wands. Okay, so for me, this is taking charge of your situation and being very, being proactive, coming from a place of positivity, coming from a place of confidence. This is the card of Sagittarius, so it's really being a Sagittarius. The lunar eclipse may have brought some kind of self-awareness, Sag, about what you're doing that is tripping yourself up. And especially in the 12th house, because that can be unconscious behaviors, unconscious ideas that you kind of suppress, you have suppressed, so you don't know that you're doing them, and they're leading to destructive, self-destructive behaviors. So the Queen of Wands is about asserting yourself, stepping into your power in a compassionate way, but in a way that is definitely assertive. If you are a new mother, or if you are pregnant, if that's what the Ace of Cups means, you have to be, I was going to say a mama bear. You have to be willing to, it's not about fighting for your family. It's not about fighting. It's about standing in the sovereignty that you have. Nobody can touch that. And I'm even wondering if the devil is an ex who is trying to mess with you. But you cannot turn away, but you don't have to join the drama of it, because that's what they want, these types of people. They're energy vampires, and they want to get you, because you have like this good energy. I think that's what I'm getting from this, is that, this could even be like, wondering about whether or not you should go back to work if you've given birth, or if you're pregnant. The Queen of Wands can be the career mother, so you may find a way to balance the two. You might be feeling like a domestic goddess, and you're really enjoying that. But the devil, the part of you that's like, I want the money, I want the ego strokes, that might be getting in the way of good decision making. I think overall, though, that with the Sun card, that you're able to be creative in figuring out how you can navigate this and still get your needs met. So all's well that ends well. I hope that you enjoyed this, Sag, and if you would like a private reading, the link is below. One reading that people have been really getting lately is the whole enchilada, which is full-length tarot and astrology, natal chart interpretation plus transits for the coming year, and it's at a special price. So the link to my online ordering page is below. I'm at rainamoonastrology.com. Take care. Bye.